In hacker theft news.
Oh, a hacker got thefted?
I guess so.
Or they used hacking to thieving.
Aw, man.
Submitted by JK is the best in the West.
Yeah.
Hey.
West side or right or...
Nigerians hacked a sales deal between two Ford dealerships, stealing over $700,000. Wow, they're up in their game.
I know.
Oh, no more Craigslist.
No more Nigerian prince.
Yeah.
Are they getting better internet connection out there now? Or like, have you ever seen those like scam offices that they have? It's pretty funny because it's like, you have like this village, right? Where some of it is kind of like brick building and some of them are still like huts and shit. And then the guys go into office, like they don't know, some of them don't know that this is like shady shit that they're doing. But they have like business suits with like sandals on and it's all mismatched and shit. Yeah, it's pretty, I don't know, it's just interesting.
So the seller was in Ohio and it was for the Bo Townsend Ford dealership. Okay.
Bo Townsend Ford dealership.
The buyer was in Indiana, and it was the Don Hins Ford dealership.
Don's Hands Ford dealership.
I'm just gonna refer to them as buyer and seller, just to make it easier.
Ford buying from Ford?
Yeah, so they're buying from.
They're probably trading cars.
Yeah.
I'll give you a Ford Raptor if you give me a Ford Flex.
So the sales guy in Ohio was looking to negotiate a bulk vehicle sale with the Ford dealer in Indiana. And so they had made deals before, so they conducted this entire transaction through email. The deal was for 20 vehicles valued at $736,000. The Nigerians ended up hacking the seller's email account.
Wow.
Ooh.
So once the deal was settled, all incoming emails from the buyer were filtered from the seller's email and then rerouted to the Nigerian hackers.
Whoa.
The hackers then began to respond from a Gmail account with the seller's name.
Oh
And so
shit.
when the buyer proposed to pay by check, the hackers responded with wire transfer instructions instead. And so
He should have known though that they've been doing checks.
Because
they've been doing work together before.
It's also outdated, so if they wanted to change
And it takes longer.
No, but what I'm saying is like they've been doing the same transactions and business together that they should keep the payments the same.
But it's also outdated, so if they do change it, it makes sense.
All of a sudden, 700 grand, he wants to do a wire transfer.
What checks is like...
It is, yeah, no, I agree with you. But like just all of a sudden they changed their payment plan, like...
that should be a red flag, that's what you're saying?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, aren't they on speaking terms? Like, can't they just call and be like, hey Greg, what's up?
So the buyer is saying that they didn't find it strange, that now that they're requesting a wire transfer because the dealers often use DBAs to conduct transactions. So to him or to them, it was normal. And so the wire transfers were sent to the hackers and then the buyer began picking up the vehicles in batches. So a week later, the seller reaches out to the buyer to find out where the money is, and then everyone started freaking out because they were like, what the hell, you didn't get the money? Like, where'd the money go? So then the seller, for some odd reason, ends up suing the buyer for the non-payment of the 20 Ford vehicles. So then now there was an entire debate sparked as to who is responsible in this entire mess.
Insurance?
And so the court said both parties were negligent in their business practices because the seller should have maintained a more secure email system and taken quicker action upon learning that it might have been compromised. And the buyer should have ascertained that an actual agent of Bo Townsend Ford was requesting that it send money by wire transfer.
So they should have double checked, they're saying.
The seller blamed the buyer by pointing out that the emails had obvious spelling and grammatical mistakes.
Oh no.
And then the court responded by stating recent emergence of voice-to-text technology that could have easily been to blame.
They're just so forgiving.
I mean, just because someone has grammatical errors, I don't feel like...
Yeah, that's why the court didn't really take that. They were like, well, it could have just been voice-to-text. The court was not sympathetic to either side, but ultimately sided with the seller, saying that the contract was valid and the buyer took delivery but didn't pay the seller, and so the seller deserves its money.
He did pay the seller.
He didn't.
No, he did not.
Because the seller doesn't have the money, the Nigerians hacked it.
Well, that was the... I don't know, that just doesn't sound right to me. The seller should go to insurance for that money because he got that money stolen technically.
It's not the responsibility of the buyer though.
What do you mean?
So the seller, he's the one that sent the money, right?
No.
The buyer sent the money.
Yeah,
Yes.
the buyer.
Oh, duh, because he's buying. What the fuck? It got all fucked up in the middle, right?
Right.
And that's why the judge is saying, well, he's gonna be hard on his ass and saying, well, dude, like you should have been way more careful. Like the exchanges happened, you just you just channeled the money the wrong way, so you fucked up. So I think now it's just the buyer that should go to the insurance, what you're saying, but that dude still either has to get his money back or give back all the merch.
Well, the seller has to file a claim with insurance because the buyer already has all the stuff and he sent the money out.
Right.
There's a seller that doesn't have his stuff, so he needs to make the claim.
Yeah. The seller needs to make the claim. Because the buyer sent the money and it was his email that got breached. So for example, let's say we're paying phone bills, right? To whatever company that we have service with. Let's say that their email gets breached and then we get like an official email from Verizon or Sprint or whatever saying that we need to switch payment because of whatever reason and sign up here. We sign up and then they go, where's the payment? It's like, what are you talking about? You guys got breached. This is your security flaw. It's like Equifax that's happening on Equifax right now, where it's like we had nothing to do with any of that. They got breached. Their security was flawed. So why is it the person who got fooled? Why is it their fault? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't feel right. It just feels weird. But he technically delivered the money to him, right? And then even though he didn't pay for that inventory directly, it's in his possession. Should he just give back the inventory and then request for insurance? Like, which side should request for insurance?
Well, if the buyers already have the inventory, then the sellers can call the cops and say they stole all my shit.
That the buyer stole the shit.
The buyer stole all their shit.
Yeah.
But obviously that's not the case because they haven't made that call to the cops. So they didn't steal their shit, which is saying that they did pay for their shit.
Oh, okay. So the buyer has to call the cop and then get money insured because he got scammed.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
And then the seller has to call the cops and say he got scammed
Yeah.
through his email. So his claim is not he lost inventory.
Well, it
is.
is.
Because he has to deliver the car. So they both have to make the claim. So he has to get the car back.
Yeah.
Fuck.
It's a fucked
Yeah.
up situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I was saying that the buyer should
see.
have to get it.
When we bought our house, there's like 2 or 3 insurance
Yeah.
covering the same shit. And I never understood why.
Every
see.
party's
Now-
protecting
yeah,
themselves.
So they both need to call their own insurance at this point.
So the buyer probably calls his own insurance plus FDIC, right? Is that what it is?
I don't know if FDIC applies in this situation.
There's only checks or what for FDIC?
I
don't
think it's
even
just
know.
the bank only though. Like if it's your money and you're the one moving it, FDIC doesn't apply to you. It's like if it's your bank that's housing that money and then something happens due to the
I
bank breach
see.
or whatever, then it's insured.
I see.
Yeah.
That's fucking crazy.
Yeah, because then how's the seller even gonna know that? Like it's a fucked up situation for both because it's like how can that guy even say like yeah I'll give you back your inventory and really believe that you did get hacked or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He should keep it. It sucks. This is a fucked up situation.
So when it comes to law enforcement, right? Like on the seller side, he calls the law enforcement because he's like, I got hacked. I need hacker patrol or whatever. The other side is I got scammed. I need to first contact my bank and all that stuff. And then the law enforcement has to contact Nigerian police or whatever, or the bank in
Some sort of
Nigeria.
international cyber police or
Yes, it's fucked up.
I don't know if they do anything though, because
It's hard because like what can happen if the Nigerians, if the banking system works like that in Nigeria, so basically the money gets wired. Once it gets released, I don't know what their security system is, but if they have a history of like receiving big payments this way, then it shouldn't raise any red flags. What they do is they go out, get a cashier's check, get the money out. They could have opened the account under like a fake alias. Now the money's gone, so now whatever's happening in the US finally goes back to Nigeria. They try to take that money out, but it's like,
It's too late.
who are you gonna get it from?
It's kind of like a money order, huh? They
Yeah.
just check it right away.
That's what they would do at our bank all the time. Like they would get it wired, and if the account checks out, like yeah, they usually get this stuff. There's nothing shady going on. Get a cashier's check. That's cash.
People gotta be careful, man. There's so much shit going on.
$100.
I'm kind of glad Chase blocked my wire because I had to call them and go through like 3 verifications, and it was kind of annoying. But then hearing this kind of shit, I'm like, I'm glad that they try.
They protect themselves first before you, for sure. You know, because that's the money that's in their system that's circulating, that they're investing. So they're like, no, we're covering our ass. We don't give a shit about Joe. Like, we gotta make sure we don't lose this money.
Hey guys, thanks for watching the last episode. Did you love it? I know you did. But guess what? You can also follow us on our personal social media accounts with the links in the description box below. So go follow all of us. Now, to watch more videos, check them out up there.